We stand for invocation and pledge of allegiance. May we bow in an attitude of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we say thank you for the night of rest and for the opportunity to be present this morning and to serve. And Lord, just direct us and guide us and give us mercy and patience and understanding. Lord, may we serve to the best of our abilities and work diligently for the citizens of Washington County and surrounding areas. Lead, guide, and direct us, I pray in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start our meeting, Mr. Porter,
yes.
You've been asked to stay away from these meetings because of your disruptive conduct. I'm asking you now to please leave.
You're asking me to leave the gallery of the public meeting?
Yes, I am. You were served the letter. I have a copy of it here in front of me, dated March 19th, where you are to not participate in these meetings. I think if I read the whole way through, somewhere in the realm of 6 months.
So somewhere in the realm of 6 months, I can't attend future public meetings due to past meeting conduct. Is that what you're saying? You want me to leave?
Absolutely.
So you're ordering me out of the gallery?
By way of the letter that you were served previously.
Saying that I can't attend a public meeting?
I'm going to take a recess until you leave.
Unbelievable. They let me sign up and everything. Horrible.
And they will be strictly enforced. And moving forward, if we were tricked into different things, we will call a recess and make adjustments. These rules are fluid, and it's to the best interest of the citizens of Washington County. I want to address the new rules. We received constructive comments from several community members who value the First Amendment as well as we do, and want to make sure that our rules do not abridge anyone's rights. First, our rules are not meant to restrict viewpoints. All you have to do is watch the past few months' meetings to see that we are extremely tolerant of critical comments and allow them to be expressed. At the same time, preservation of order at public meetings to ensure the meetings can be efficiently conducted is a legitimate government interest. The Constitution allows the county to establish reasonable rules to that end. Our new rules are reasonable and viewpoint neutral because all of them have the single objective of preventing actual disturbances at the meetings. All viewpoints are welcome. All we ask is that speakers maintain a conduct, a volume, and a tone that does not disrupt the meeting. I am quoting here from federal courts that have addressed this issue. It is well established that a citizen addressing a city governmental body in a limited public forum may be stopped from speaking if the speech is irrelevant or repetitious, or disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of council meetings, so long as the speaker is not stopped from speaking because the moderator disagrees with the viewpoint he or she is expressing. We will conduct ourselves accordingly. Regarding profanity, it is settled law that reasonable restrictions on profanity that disrupts the meetings are constitutionally valid restrictions. The question is, when such language becomes disruptive. It is my job to make that distinction. We occasionally have children who come to these meetings. In that case, excessive, repetitive profanity that serves no purpose other than shock value will be disruptive to the meeting, as it will require parents to leave the room and impede the children's and their parents' ability to access the meeting. We also have people who watch at home. These people have every right to access these meetings. but if a speaker uses extreme, excessive, and repetitive profanity such that cable television and social media restricts access to our videos, in my opinion, that is disruptive because it impedes the access of those at home. I am going to, these pages are sticking together. I am going to ask all speakers, regardless of viewpoint, to be sensitive to the rights of others when speaking. If profanity gets out of hand in a way that is excessive and repetitive and disruptive, I will ask you to stop, regardless of the viewpoint being expressed. Finally, I ask all speakers to be mindful to others. If a speaker's conduct, volume, or tone is such that a reasonable person will view it as threatening or aggressive, such that they reasonably fear danger of bodily harm and for that reason want to leave the meeting, I will ask the speaker to cease the conduct, lower the volume, or change the tone of their remarks, regardless, again, of viewpoint, so that they can make their viewpoint known without disrupting or impeding the meeting. The rules, once again, are a work in progress, and we are grateful to the community members who have provided their input. Our hope is that speakers will feel comfortable to express their viewpoints while being sensitive to others so that all viewpoints can be heard. Thank you for allowing me to read those rules. And with that, we'll move forward. Mr. Dave Williams.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Williams from Smithsburg. First of all, I'd just like to say it's nice to see Mr. Leatherman up here in the front instead of back in the gallery watching. And I have some hopefully constructive input for you on the meeting rules. At 9 o'clock, when you return from recess, I urge you to not pretend that your meeting is just getting started. You've already had an invocation, you've already pledged allegiance to the flag, you've already called the meeting to order. There's no reason to repeat those steps. Hopefully the prayer's effect will last longer than an hour, and our Pledge of Allegiance doesn't expire after 60 minutes, and the meeting has already been called to order. No manual about how to run a meeting that I know of suggests that a meeting must be restarted after a recess. A recess does not close a meeting. When you reconvene, you take up business right where you left off, unless your aim is to hide the comments of those of us here this morning by pretending that today's meeting is starting at 9 o'clock. The county webpage posting the 2025 meeting schedule also states that this meeting starts at 9 o'clock. That needs to be corrected, unless, of course, your aim is to hide the fact that your meeting starts at 8 o'clock with citizen participation. At the very least, when you come back from recess at 9 o'clock today, acknowledge that the meeting actually started at 8 o'clock with citizen participation. It would be nice to also note the number of speakers who participated in citizen participation. That way, viewers will know they can still observe citizen participation by watching the separate video you post online. After all, citizen participation is the first agenda item of your meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Next is Curtis Ray.
Curtis Ray, Hagerstown, Maryland. I think we are soaking up way too much time into discussing what is protected and what isn't protected under the First Amendment right. I don't understand why we are constantly battling Sean Porter. This is a majority of what it's about. You have already stated numerous times that you are attempting to go with public input, and what I don't understand is he is still part of the public. You have to listen to him. Yes, he's doing some obscene imagery, but I mean, it is protected under the First Amendment. It's what it is. We need to talk about really pressing concerns about the budgetary issues currently that the county is going to be facing, but this is just taking up too much dang time. And another major problem that I've seen is that there was a lady here last meeting that came here with a very valid concern. She was talking about that intersection in Morgansville when you come out of that freaking, it's like a little commercial district. And she had very valid points that we should probably put a intersection there with a light before somebody dies. There's no reason for us to wait till somebody dies to actually come up with a solution for it. A cool thing about that was actually our three commissioners tried to do some healthy dialogue, which I do want to reinforce. I actually am a big fan of that. I was very happy that you all attempted to actually talk to her, even during her citizen's comment, to try and help her and alleviate her concerns. I do believe we should attempt to pursue that more. I think we can all agree on that. That's fine. Even if your rules keep coming up and saying that you're not allowed to speak, I actually would like you all to even speak during my comment if I do ask you questions. I think that's very fair. I think it's very valid. I don't know why you cut her off. She was actually looking for help, and you basically banged the gavel on him for no reason. Yes, I know you all are trying to enforce these rules that you keep coming up with, but there's no reason for that. That woman took time out of her day to come up here, and you could tell she was very nervous. She was very scared to talk, but she still came up here because she believed in that problem. I don't know why we just sent her away like that. And there's no reason to be banging a gavel on her like that, in my opinion. I thought that was very wrong. And I want to say that we should try and do healthier dialogue. You need to redo these rules and make it that if people are asking you questions, even during their citizens' comment, you are allowed to participate. Because sometimes the citizens do want to hear what you have to say. And I think that's very valid. There's no reason to hide from them. We need to start acting like the municipalities where it's actually more of a friendlier meeting and not us versus you.
Thank you. With that, there's no other participation here this morning. We'll take a recess until 9 o'clock. Call our meeting back to order from recess from 8 o'clock this morning. With that, we're going to stand and have the invocation, and Pastor Les McIntosh is here graciously to give the invocation, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
With every head bowed, to the only wise God, our Father and Creator, we humbly approach you today with an attitude of gratitude for your omnipotent power and your omnipresence that comforts us in knowing that you are there. And in knowing that you possess all knowledge, we pray today and approach you to align with your will, to give us peace, to give us wisdom, to give us direction. We ask for peace that will bring us together as each city collectively and as a county. We ask for your wisdom for this body here to circumvent challenges and lead us to govern effectively. And we pray that you give us a direction to navigate in prudence to make this county and each city represented in this county toward peace and prosperity. And we ask this in your name. We pray, amen and amen.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. With that, first on the agenda is need a motion and a second for approval of the minutes from April the 8th.
Motion to approve April 8th minutes.
All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Yep. Randy, we'll have to abstain. You were not here on April the 8th, so it'll be 4 and 1 abstention. Thank you. Commissioners' reports and comments, and I'm going to ask the new guy on the block, Randy Leatherman, welcome. And
Thank you, John.
take the mic.
Thank you. I would like to thank the Republican Central Committee for my nomination. I would like to thank the Governor's Office for my appointment. The office staff has been incredible in welcoming me, and so thank you. Warm welcome. You've made me feel comfortable very quickly. And finally, to Wayne Kiefer, whom I'm replacing. Wayne served the county citizens for almost 8 years and did it magnificently. Wayne was a great servant for the citizens of Washington County. And so to Wayne, all my best to him and his wife and daughter, and continued success in all that they do. So thank you. That's all I have, John.
Okay, thank you. The other Randy, Randy Wagner.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that out. See, RW or RL maybe, I don't know. But
Maybe you might be called Leatherman and Wagner from here on out.
yeah. But good morning. Welcome, Randy. We welcome you to the board, and hope it serves us well, the whole community well, which I know it will. So appreciate your presence. Just wanted to welcome everybody back from the Easter break. It was a wonderful Easter. And I wanted to especially thank everybody involved, first responders, staff, citizens, everybody who's involved in the patience in the storm cleanup that we had after our storm. So, I mean, it takes a team effort to do that. I know it was pretty slow, but I think it was the enormous amount of damage that occurred that some people didn't get to see. You know, I took a quick drive around, and it was pretty bad out there. So I want to thank everybody who participated in that and help get, hopefully, everybody online now. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Harvey?
Welcome, Randy Leatherman, and I think the Central Committee did a great job in making the selection, and you'll have a good time here helping our community move forward, and appreciate you stepping up to do the job. So thank you very much. Look forward to working with you. I agree with what Randy Wagner said about the responsive staff and our public safety people in responding to the storm, and for the community working together, so many volunteers helping each other to respond to the down trees and down power lines, and doing what they could in their neighborhoods to address some of the damage and make sure people didn't drive over down power lines and the like. So thank you to everyone in our community for doing what they did. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the president.
Thank you. Vice President Klein?
Thank you, Commissioner Barr. Commissioner Barr, according to your suggestion the other week, there was a question about an intersection at Mulligansville. Deputy Director Levine was listening, and he did address that at the TAC meeting. I too brought it up per your suggestion. That's a state highway, and the stoplight evidently was in disorder. It was being repaired, so I think that's been handled, but it's at the state level, so they've been made aware of that correction. Next, last night, I attended probably my 15th grand opening of the Washington County Girls Softball League. 2 fields were named after the late Dwayne Bolus, and then after Steve Danfeld, who's been a volunteer up there for 30 years. Again, there was 14-plus teams there with local sponsors. Grandma, Grandpa, Mom, Dad, aunts, uncles were all in attendance watching these young ladies perform, and to make sure we thank the coaches and all the people who are supporting those kids in that league. Mr. Danfeld and the late Dwayne Bolus did a great job up there, and they still are. They had high compliments to the county staff for the maintenance and care of the field, and they also have steamers for sale, and I highly recommend them. Next, I went down the training center, Public Safety Training Center yesterday. Fire Academy Recruits Class 07 was there. I believe there's 13 of them. I made sure we all, on behalf of the county, we thank them for the service they are about to perform. Great group of young people motivated, so good for them. Best wishes to them. Last week was work zone safety awareness. Want to make sure our highway guys know, as mentioned earlier with the storm damage and things, that we appreciate their efforts daily, not just 1 week out of the year. I also had the honor of being a speaker at the Appalachian, not Appalachian, I was corrected, Trail Stamp Reveal at South Mountain, Washington Monument Park. The United States Post Service issued a series of 15 stamps depicting a scene from each of the states that the Appalachian Trail occurs in, and we were chosen to have Annapolis Rock overlooking the Hagerstown Valley with autumn trees. It was a great event. And I have to applaud Boonesboro for being an Appalachian Trail community. Just all good stuff up there, that there's beauty, mystic beauty in front of us in our own backyard. So I urge everyone, go take a hike on Appalachian Trail. I also attended a graduation ceremony for PIA, the Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics. I think over the years they went from a hangar out to this big facility out at the airport, and they're underway for a larger hangar to be built for classrooms. They have approximately 20-some students, 4 veterans, some were local. It's a 16-month program for these folks to give up their current occupation and begin a new career change. PI has been a great addition to our community, providing opportunities. I think they said over 85% of the students had job offers already accepted, and others were pending. And to note, the PIA has now made entry into our school system locally about recruiting students. Next, I attended the Tri-County membership meeting up in Allegheny County last week, and wanted to welcome our new executive director, Elizabeth Stallman. She replaces the late Leanne Mazer for over 30 years, guided that organization. And it looks, from all that I can observe, that Elizabeth will be a great addition as the executive director for Tri-County Council. I too, again, want to mention our highway people for the storm damage. Folks need to know if there's wires down, that our guys, whether it's phone lines or electric lines, they do not touch the wires. So if you see a delay in any of the removal of trees over the past week or so, that is one reason, if there's wires involved. But thank you, they're on call all the time, rain, snow, sleet or hail, they're out there in these storms helping our first responders. I was also told that Potomac Edison brought over 100-some vehicles out of the area and to help Washington County, so I'm appreciative of that. And last week was Administrative Employee Week. I want to thank Michelle Prevey, Dawn Marcus, and Michelle Gordon for all the work that they do as administrators of Washington County, how things over the past year or two run so smooth. I want to thank you for the behind-the-scenes work that makes us commissioners look good. So thank you for that. And next, congratulations to Randy Leatherman. Maybe your thanks won't be so thankful in a year from now. We'll see. But congratulations. Look forward to working with you. That concludes my report.
Anything good that happens, it's Randy Wagner. Anything bad that happens, it's Randy Leatherman.
Yeah, I tell people I'm Terry Baker and get away with this sometimes. No, I don't.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Again, good morning, and yes, congratulations to Randy Leatherman. Finally, the appointment, and you've been more than gracious. You've shared a lot of your personal time with me the last couple weeks, and so that we could get to know each other, and I truly, truly appreciate that, and welcome you aboard with open heart, and we're looking forward to serving out this term, so thank you. Yes, the last 2 weeks have been very busy, Holy Week, and there was a lot of festivities and activities, and ironically, Easter morning, our EMS and fire and rescue are being called out for down wires and trees, and tremendous damage to some folks' property, and roofs blown off, and to my knowledge, I don't think there was any serious personal injuries, and thank the good Lord for that, and we're very appreciative, but it's kudos to our emergency workers for what they went through last week, and particularly Easter morning. It was a yeoman's job. I attended the annual We Remember the Union Workers Day service last Thursday, I guess it was. A very nice affair where they pay memorial service to not only union workers, but all workers that have died on the job working, and they do a real nice job. Dan Hedrick is normally here with us in the galley, but Dan heads that up, and he does a real good job with that, and very nice and honoring ceremony. One night over the weekend, I attended the Art in Bloom at our Washington County Museum of Fine Arts. Free event. It's participated by many of our local schools. They had artwork. They had flower arrangements that both novice and professionals have. They were given a painting, a picture, and then they do a art or a flower display to kind of get your mind to thinking about the artwork. And it was quite interesting, very mind intriguing, and well worth the walk through. I think it's still, nope, it was just over the weekend, the 26th and the 27th. Sorry about that. But again, our local Museum of Fine Arts, exceptional job, and a lot of local participation, particularly the students of our local schools. On Saturday night, once again, one performance, sold out, nearly approximately 1,200 seats at the Maryland Theater. The Maryland Symphony Orchestra, in lieu of their normal spring Pops concert, they did something different this year. They played the music theme all the way through. They brought in extra musicians, more than normal. The stage was packed. I'm sitting there thinking, if they move sideways, they're going to fall off the stage. They were packed in. The music combined was absolutely breathtaking, made the Maryland Theater shake. And overhead, the screen came down, and the full movie of How to Train Your Dragon, they played the music theme the whole way through that 2.5-hour movie. It was breathtaking. And again, hats off, Maryland Symphony Orchestra, based here in Hagerstown. We're so blessed, and they are the cornerstone of the Maryland Theater. So hopefully they can continue to another 50 years. So also one day last week I was out of town. I attended, just for reference, oftentimes commissioners are questioned about the budget and questioned about our financial wherewithal and what we know, and so I chose to take last Thursday and I spent all day with the Maryland Bankers Director Symposium in Columbia, Maryland. And I will say that although it doesn't directly have anything to do with serving here in Washington County, I told Michelle Gordon on Friday that this was probably one of the, in all the years I've gone to seminars and different venues, last Thursday went over the top. This thing, the speakers were engaging. They talked about relevant issues, about mortgage rates, the interest. I made notes all over the place. Normally, most symposiums and conferences I go to, by lunchtime, I'm like, I got to get out of here. You know, I'm bored to death. This, it was like 3:30, 3:45, and I'm like, where did the day go? That's how good it was. So when folks think that we don't spend time understanding and digging into the budget and knowing where the money's at and where the money's going, that is a tremendous responsibility on the commissioners and the staff. And I can't say thank you enough to everybody that's involved with the budget. And before I forget, there was something very special for a lady in this community over the weekend. And my wife will get kudos. She celebrated 50 years Saturday, putting up with me. And so there's going to be a special place in heaven, I'm sure, for her. And we had a great weekend, and the kids had a gathering Sunday afternoon. It was just phenomenal. And so I want to just say thank you publicly to my wife and for all those that were involved with the ceremonies over the weekend. And it was basically a surprise. I mean, I'm kind of choking up here, but so anyway, 50 years. I don't know where it went, how it happens so fast, but she definitely gets a special seat or a crown in heaven. So putting up with me, I'm sure, hasn't been all that wonderful. So anyway, thank you.
Got a motion?
Huh?
Got a motion?
You want to make an emotion? So upcoming events, special recognition ceremony for Special Olympian Candy Blessing, Smithsburg Town Hall, Tuesday, April the 29th at 6 p.m. So I understand, I think, Mr. Harvey, you're covering that for sure. So thank you very much for that. Also, groundbreaking ceremony for TRU by True by Hilton, Wednesday, tomorrow, 2 p.m. That's out at Railway Lane, the new hotel. And thirdly, the grand opening for Sheer Radiance is Monday, May 5th at 2 p.m. Virginia Avenue. And for the notes, Smithsburg evening meeting with our group, BOCC, the meeting tonight has been canceled. So there is no evening meeting tonight. With that, I think we miss anything? With that, we'll move into staff comments. And is Scott here? Yep. Scott, you're up first.
Thank you. Good morning. Scott Hobbs, Director of Engineering. The board was provided a final draft of the county's transportation priorities letter to be submitted to the state for our annual meeting in the fall with the Maryland Department of Transportation. The priorities are generally the same from last year. I want to thank Andrew Eshelman, Neil Doran, Sean Harbaugh, and Matt Mullinex for their work on the letter. Information in the letter about airport and transit operations, as well as various transportation planning studies, are coordinated by their offices, and they will be presenters with me at the meeting in the fall. Now that I-81 Phase 2 funding has been restored in the budget, the county is asking for funding for the future phases of work to complete the project to the Pennsylvania state line. The current schedule from the state for Phase 2, which is the widening from I-81 from Exit 1 to just north of Exit 5 at Halfway Boulevard, has the final design being completed by the Maryland Department of Transportation in early 2027. Other priorities listed in the letter involve I-70 at 65 interchange improvements, pedestrian safety and railroad improvements, HUR, as well as requesting studies on state bridges and municipalities. So any comments or questions regarding the letter?
Comments?
Can I just ask a question? So on the I-81 up through Halfway Boulevard, that's for the design piece, but not actual work?
The construction right now in the state's consolidated transportation plan is shown in out years. However, in a recent article from the Herald Mail, the Secretary of Transportation said they were moving forward to have construction in 2027, weather permitting. So we'll continue to look at that, and as the design progresses through 2027, we'll see where the funding comes in at that point. And
So the earliest that some money may be spent on actual construction is no earlier than mid-2027?
they're showing out years, yeah, for the
That's the
construction
earliest.
funding.
That's the earliest. Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up is Dave Hayes and Ole Griffith. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
Ole Griffith at Volunteer Service.
Commissioner Leatherman, welcome aboard the team. We're happy to have you and look forward to serving with you. Commissioner Barr, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
We wanted to give the commissioners a little bit of information relative to the conversation started out with our wildland teams going up to Cumberland County to assist them. But I'd be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to talk about the storms and a couple other things, and I promise to keep it brief. But last Thursday evening, we had a significant fire at the Maryland Paper Company, which ended up going 3 alarms, which, if you understand alarm, a typical alarm's about 4 fire companies each alarm. It took about 80 firefighters and about 45 pieces of apparatus to bring that fire under control. And it just goes to show that collectively, the work of our volunteers, our career staff, and in many cases, the HFD, the Hagerstown Fire Department, bring to bear when we have these significant events. So I want to thank everybody for their hard work. That was down and dirty fireman work, but they got the job done, and hopefully the building and business will be able to bring itself back in a short time, and the commerce will move forward. The other thing is just as big, if not bigger, is the storm of April 19th. In just over 24 hours, the emergency services, volunteer career staff, Hagerstown Fire Department answered over 1,000 calls for service. I haven't been able to validate that, but I feel safe in saying that probably in the history of the service in Washington County is the largest 24-hour call volume that we've had. We had staff volunteering and just self-coming back to work. The 911 center was exemplary in how they handled that and put staffing in place. And I know Director Matheny has acknowledged all of that, but I just wanted to do that from the emergency services side. And again, it was an all-hands deal where we had all of our career volunteer firefighters in the Hagerstown Fire Department worked for about 24 hours to bring that thing back to some type of recovery position. And then the last thing I want to brief to is if most have been following the news and Facebook, you'll see that there were significant wildfires up in Cumberland County, Pennsylvania, which is a couple counties north of here, but we are often the receiver of mutual aid, and on this given incident, we were able to provide specialized services back to another jurisdiction that needed some help. And I'm going to let Ole do most of the talking to this, but all in all, they were up there for about 36 or 48 hours. So Ole is more experienced and detailed in this and has some stats he'll share with you. But again, we want to thank that group, and they were largely volunteers as well.
Good morning, Commissioners, and welcome aboard, Randy Leatherman. You do a great job for this county. As Dave spoke, over this past week, we've been having a lot of forest fires in the area, and our wildland teams is a specialty group of people who's trained in wildland firefighting. This past weekend, the Boonesboro Fire Department and the Clear Spring Fire Department, along with one of our mutual aid companies of Middletown wildland team, went to Cumberland County, Pennsylvania, to the Micho State Forest is up outside Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, and King Gap, Pennsylvania. Ended up burning 2,323 acres, just one fire. And it is not completely contained yet. And while they was there, they had a second fire going on. It was called a Hammond Rock Fire. and that burned another 471 acres. So our crews was up there for 2 days, and just the man hours out of our two wildland teams spent about 424 man hours up there. That's a lot of man hours. And these are volunteer services along with career staffing has helped out with that. And we work along with the Maryland State Forest Service on dispatches for those type of mutual aid calls. Some of the things also these wildland teams, people must realize they've been in 7 different counties since March. From West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Virginia on requests for their services. And they're up well over 1,000 man hours on mutual aid calls. But I'd just like to give kudos to those people because they're one of the last people to leave. It's very dangerous work, especially work, sawyers, cutting trees, working in the mountains at nighttime. And funding sources is really tough for these organizations. Funding comes out of their own company-raised funds. And with the history of Washington County, if you know, this year we had several huge mountain fires in Washington County this year already. And our peak season's usually from March, April, and May, then picks back up in November. So, you know, hats off to everybody who worked on board. And like I say, it's a partnership between the volunteer corporations and also the paid staff. And if there's any way we can help these people out in the future with a little extra funding, I think it will go a long ways because the urban wildland interface is here in Washington County now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Daniel has a few pictures of the fires there on the screen of how big that fire was.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie.
Thank you.
Next, Don Marcus, board appointments.
Dawn Marcus, County Clerk. Commissioners, on behalf of the Washington County Agricultural Education Center Board, I am requesting a motion to reappoint Ryan Shank to serve a second 3-year term from November 1st of 2023 through October 31st of 2026. This is not a pay board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all that I have.
Okay, County Administrator Michelle Gordon.
Thank you. I'd like to start by congratulating Commissioner Randy Leatherman on his recent appointment. I look forward to working with you. Also like to thank our Director of Communications and Emergency Management, Alan Matheny, our Director of the Division of Emergency Services, Dave Hayes, and all of our first responders, both employees and volunteers. And a special thank you to our Highways Department for their work during the recent storms, as well as the cleanup efforts that occurred during the week after the storms. I'd like to remind residents that the Board of County Commissioners has offered to extend services at our landfill free of charge for residents for storm debris cleanup. That is not available to commercial services. It is only available to residential services. That service is available through May the 7th at our Hancock Convenience Center, Smithsburg's Convenience Center, and our 40 West landfill. It's generally available either Monday or Tuesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. or 7:30 to 2:30 or 3 p.m., depending on the hours of each individual site, and I encourage residents to take advantage of that through May the 7th. I'd like to thank our Budget and Finance Department for coordinating meetings with our rating agencies. We don't have the results back yet. We do expect those later this week. However, overall comments and feedback again emphasized our strong fiscal management and sound financial policies as being very strong. Our debt capacity ratios are also very strong. All of those indicated that we're actually at a AAA level. Things that bring our level back down to a AA1 are the economy and median household income. We'll have more information related to that as we get those ratings later this week. And lastly, I did attend the University System of Maryland Hagerstown Campus Board meeting. And that's everything that I have.
Thank you. Any other staff comments? Hearing none, we'll move into our item tab number 1, Commission for Women Annual Presentation. Mrs. Harvey, please come up. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Leatherman. I'm Beth Harvey, the current president of the Washington County Commission for Women. We're here this morning to provide an annual update on the ongoing work of the commission.
Good morning, I'm Elise Weber. Excuse me, I'm treasurer of the Commission for Women. We wanted to take this opportunity to provide an update on the work of the commission over the past year, to celebrate our achievements and recommend our plans for the future. First, we want to thank you for the support and concern for understanding issues that affect women in our county. And with the budget considerations before you today, we also want to thank you for fully funding the Commission for Women. Your support enabled us to accomplish the incredible milestone of bringing the global TED stage to Hagerstown and to celebrate accomplished women in Washington County. Their stories are all linked at TEDxHagerstownWomen.com, and we encourage you to watch and rewatch their big ideas. We're planning already for the fall TEDx event, and speakers can apply online at TEDxHagerstownWomen.com through May 31st. We also want to thank Dawn Nally and Danny Sweeney for their service on the commission as their terms near completion.
We encourage questions that we can help answer, as well as the public to share valuable resources known by submitting them through our various communication channels, including Facebook at Washington County Commission for Women and through our website, wccwmd.com. In addition to the business of the commission over the past year, we welcomed business leaders, our state delegate, and the Department of Health and Human Services. Across all briefings, the top concern we continue to hear remains rampant addiction. I recently took a conversational poll among 13-year-old girls that revealed not a single one had ever seen a poster with a "Don't do drugs" message. In Washington County Public Schools, as I grew up, there were posters strategically placed next to the clock with the basic message. And on particular, there was an MTV commercial that showed 2 eggs and a simple message: "This is your brain on drugs," next to the fried egg. Please consider a strategic marketing campaign from elementary to high school with messages that will encourage youth to avoid drug use. It might be legal, but women are smarter than that. It might be legal, but who has time for that? We look forward to continuing to support the Board of County Commissioners to celebrate the accomplishments of women and advocate on behalf of women. As we identify gaps, we will continue to provide updates to you on where services to support women and girls are needed. And thank you for considering the recommendation to implement a marketing campaign to encourage students to say no to drugs.
We, excuse me, we'd also like to introduce you today to Blakely Papp. Blakely is Miss Washington County's teen. She's the founder of Dare to Not Compare, a community service initiative that empowers children to build self-worth, resist negative comparison, and embrace their authentic selves. Blakely is also a national youth ambassador for the Tourette's Association of America and spreads awareness of how to be a supportive community for children and adults with Tourette's. Blakely's goal is to become a broadcast meteorologist. She's been singing since 2nd grade, and she will perform the national anthem before the Flying Boxcars game on July 6th.
So you're posing a threat to Lou Scally, becoming meteorologist. Lou, if you're listening, no offense.
And another title holder in attendance today is Ariana Briner, recently crowned Miss Washington County 2025.
Good morning.
Hey.
Ariana is an early childhood special education teacher and a proud graduate of Shenandoah University Conservatory, where she earned a bachelor's degree in music therapy. Her community service initiative is called Educate to Empower, dedicated to supporting and uplifting students with disabilities. She is passionate about making a lasting impact and serving the community and will represent our community at Miss Maryland competition at the Maryland Theater this June. And she is going to tell you quickly about the symbolism of the crown.
So as you see the crown on my head, there are 4 points, but each point actually stands for something. We have service, style, success, and scholarship. Through the Miss America organization, and once I was crowned your Miss Washington County, I earned $2,500 in scholarship money. And I am super proud for the organization. The Miss America opportunity is the #1 leading, it provides the most scholarships for women in America. And I'm super grateful to be a part of such an incredible organization. And I know I can probably speak for both Blakely and I that we are super excited to serve the community of Washington County.
Thank you.
And we would love to get a picture with Michelle and our commissioners too.
Absolutely.
That's the end of our report.
Okay. Picture time.
Randy Wagner, who is our representative on the commission forum, Michelle Morgan, our county administrator, Jeff Klein, my husband, Emily Schindler, and President John Barr.
Thank you all so much for having us. It's truly an honor. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hop in there.
Okay, if we could just scoot just a little bit, or maybe Randy or Jeff, would you mind going to the others?
How about
Or just scoot
going
closer?
sideways?
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. You guys do. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks,
so much. Yeah.
Miss
Miss
June 6th? Or June?
We will be in the Hagerstown, the Maryland Theater in Hagerstown.
And then if she wins Miss Maryland, she goes to Miss America.
State will get to vote.
Thank you. Okay, the next item under tab 2 is a public hearing, 2025 Agricultural Land Preservation District applications. And let me get my agenda here.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning. I think I have an opening statement.
Sure.
And the purpose of this hearing is to hear public comment concerning the matter. The procedure is as follows. We will first have staff introduce the matter, after which the hearing will be open for public comment and testimony. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to testify. After everyone who wishes to speak has done so, the hearing will close. Chris Boggs, the Rural Preservation Administrator, will now introduce the matter. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Boggs, Rural Preservation Administrator, Department of Planning and Zoning. First, welcome aboard, Commissioner Leatherman. Good to see you. This is the Washington County Agricultural Land Preservation District Program, or we call it Ag Districts for short. And each year, the county gives landowners with agricultural land the opportunity to enter into the county's Ag District program. The program is a 10-year commitment by the landowner that they will not develop the property commercially, industrially, or residentially over those 10 years. if they go into the agreement with the county provides them property tax credits on their county property taxes, on their ag land, ag buildings, and a portion of their residential taxes levied as well. So in order to enter the program, county property owners must meet some minimum criteria. Those would be that they have to be located in one of our rural zoning designations, outside of growth areas. They have to have at least 50 acres of land, unless they are contiguous to other preserved land, in which case they can have as little as 20 acres. And they must have at least 50% Class 1, 2, and 3 soils. Those are the higher productivity and yield soils that we have in the county. And then, of course, after the first 10 years is up, they have the option to renew for periods of 5 years. So it's a pretty prolific program. We have over 32,000 acres of land in the county that is signed up for this program. For fiscal impact, of course, with the tax credits, it comes out of the general fund, and we've got it's roughly about $12 per acre per year, which would be roughly around $17,000 per year for this group of applicants, which totals 1,429 acres in total with this year's batch of applicants. Of course, it has been approved by the County Ag Land Advisory Board, and essentially the recommended motion would be to approve the 10-year districts of the 11 property owners listed. Are there any questions?
Well, let me open it up.
Well, my question's later,
Yeah,
it's part of the public hearing.
Right. We will now open the hearing for public comment. Anyone wishing to comment from here this morning? Okay, no one? No public comment? With that, I'll bring it back to the commissioners. Commissioners have comments or questions, concerns? Do I close it first? No. Mm-mm. No. Yeah, now's the time. Right.
Is it too late or can I speak? Can be quick. I don't need 3 minutes.
Sure. You want to comment regarding this subject?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My name is Jeremy Tyndall. I just want to say I like this program a lot. People moved to Washington County. I know I did because we want it to be rural. Now we're all staring at warehouses and potentially solar farms and stuff like that. The only thing I would like more information on is who is this going to? I just want to make sure it's kind of like a fair process and see that it's not going to help friends and neighbors, and just that it's open to everybody, and maybe have the opportunity for the public to see a list of who owns the farms that are going to. But I support it. Keep Washington County as rural as possible, and that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Tyndall. Okay, anyone else? Hearing no other public comments?
Could we have staff possibly address that process?
Well, we're still in public comment, right, in the hearing?
Right.
Okay, he can
We need to close public comment.
close public, there's a process.
The hearing is now concluded, and I'll turn it back to Chris to give any additional information.
Yes, so
We don't look so like this.
the way the districts are determined is that it's a voluntary program, so anyone can apply, but each applicant has to meet minimum criteria. So if you don't meet the 50% Class 1, 2, and 3 soils, or the size thresholds, or the locality thresholds, then you can't apply. And it's one of those things where the minimum criteria are very black and white. It isn't determined by, who you are or what, what sort of ag operation you have, how long you've been in the ag sector. It's strictly on the qualities of the property. So there's really no way for it to have any sort of bias toward personal,
And the process They submit to who? Who does it go through before you actually?
Correct, yes, so it comes through me, I receive the application, and then I take it to the Ag Advisory Board. And then it comes obviously here to public hearing to county commissioners. Again, they have to meet all of the qualifying criteria in order to, now, if someone does not meet the qualifying criteria, we have had that in the past, so we've had people inside of the growth area attempt to apply for an ag preservation district. And what we have to do then is take it to Planning Commission as well, because then it starts going toward not just the ag side of it, but also, you know, sort of the planning side of it, because these properties would be inside the growth area. And generally, Planning Commission, well, at least in my experience, each time that's occurred, they've denied it, simply because the growth area is an area designated for growth, and the preservation area is designated for preservation.
And I also want to point out that the packet and the agenda includes the Agricultural Land Preservation District applicant list, as well as maps of each of the farms.
Yeah, just for clarification, it looks like there was 11 farms, and
Correct.
I think I'm correct on that count. And there was 17,000, what was that figure?
Well, that was the estimated cost to the county, about $17,000
Right,
a year.
and,
They're 1,429 acres.
Of the 11 properties.
In total, 11 properties, yes.
Yeah, and that was the cost for 11, and how many were denied, just roughly?
Oh, this year? I don't think any applicants were denied, but again, when someone calls with an inquiry, they're given the minimum qualifying criteria. And then, of course, I let them know they have the option to still apply. It's just that, you know, the odds of them, you know,
Right.
getting into the program are, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the time I spent on the Ag Board, about 4 years, it seemed like it was a lot of thought put into all the decisions you guys do. And so, yeah, that's all I had.
Is there a reason, is there a policy-specific rule that says that because a property is within the growth area, that it cannot be preserved by a property owner who wants to preserve his property? Because they had no say in it being in or out of the growth area, and the growth area has changed over time. So is there a rule?
Yes, so the state mandates that you can't do, none of their conservation easement programs are allowed inside of growth areas.
Okay, good.
Additionally, Planning Commission is opposed to it as well, due to the fact that, you know, again, the growth area is area designated for future growth, and to preserve it would be counterintuitive to that application.
Any other commissioner comments?
Okay. Do you want to ponder this, or you want a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve.
Do we need to close?
We gotta close
We
it,
got to
don't
close the,
we?
we got to close it first. Close the public hearing first.
Okay, with that, the public hearing is now concluded, and the commissioners, your comments and deliberation. You made a motion?
Yeah, if there's no more comments, I'd motion to go ahead and approve it.
Okay, we have a motion second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next item is again a public hearing. This is the adoption of the Washington County Fire Prevention Code. The purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony concerning the matter. The procedure is as follows. We will first have staff introduce the matter, after which the hearing will be open for public comment and testimony. Public comment and testimony is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The hearing will then close, and no other comments, correspondence, or emails will be considered. The commissioners may discuss the issue and take it under advisement, or they may reach a consensus to adopt the code as presented. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Greg Cartrett, Permitting Director, will now present the matter.
Thank you, Commissioner. Congratulations, Commissioner Leatherman, also. Greg Cartrett, Director of Permits and Inspections and Code Official.
Rosalinda Pasquale, Deputy County Attorney.
We're here today to conduct a public hearing and move for approval to adopt the Maryland State Fire Prevention Code, which includes NFPA 101 and all reference codes, as the Washington County Fire Prevention Code with local amendments. Part of Washington County bringing fire prevention in-house to the Division of Permits and Inspections, we need to adopt the Washington County Fire Prevention Code with local amendments with an effective date of July 1, 2025. For Washington County to bring the fire prevention inside the Division of Permits and Inspections per Maryland Safety Code 9-701, we must adopt a Washington County Fire Prevention Code in a public hearing. Also, we have advised the public hearing for 3 weeks per state law to adopt the Washington County Fire Prevention Code.
Any other? Greg, any other statement?
And also attached, you will see the draft ordinance with the local amendments.
The draft ordinance includes the 2 local amendments that are being proposed.
Okay. With that, we will now open the hearing for public comment. Anyone wishing to testify, you may come forward. Yes, Mr. Knoll,
He needs to give us his name and address.
please.
Good morning. My name is Brian Knoll. I'm the owner of Knoll's Fire Protection. My company's address is 12015 Kents Mill Road, Williamsport. Need my home address too?
Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
My biggest question with the new codes that are coming in, you all are going to be taking all the inspections and plan review from the State Fire Marshal's office, correct? Okay. I just wanted to make sure. My first question is plan review. What would be the turnaround on plan review? Right now, with the state, I can turn in a drawing to them tomorrow, and I could rough that in on Friday. If the plan review turnaround is, if I don't have a permit, will I be allowed to rough it in? Do I have to, trying to think how to say it. Like if I turn in a drawing, well, I have to wait till my permit is approved before I can actually go rough the house in. My concern is if I can't do that, that's going to delay a builder to be able to proceed. Like right now, I can get a permit today or do a drawing today, turn it in the county, go rough it in, have an inspector out there next week. My biggest concern is if I turn the drawing in tomorrow, I got to wait 2-3 weeks for it to be reviewed, then go rough it in. That's going to delay my builders to proceed with the buildings. The second one is with inspections. Right now, I probably do over 20 inspections a week with the State Fire Marshal's office. That's just my company. How many other companies have just as many as I do? The inspectors you already have in place, will they be able to do all the other inspections they already have on their plate along with the sprinklers? Because what I understand, your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical inspectors are going to be taking over the sprinklers as well, correct?
I'm sorry, Mr. Knoll, this is an opportunity to address the board. It's not really a back and forth with staff at this point. Thank you. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That's just some of the questions I have. I'm worried about it's going to delay my builders. And the builders, all they're going to care about is the sprinkler guy is slowing me down. That's all they're going to care about. They're going to be screaming at me. All I'm going to do is tell them to call you guys. I'm trying to not have that happen. And then the next thing you know, they're going to be in here screaming at you all that they want to try to get rid of the sprinkler code. Then the next thing you know, it's going to turn into where if you get rid of the sprinkler codes that are in place, you lose all your state funding. Allegheny County and Garrett counties tried this, and they got thrown back to the state. That's what I'm just trying to keep from happening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing no other public comments, I'll turn it back to the commissioners. Do you have any questions or concerns?
They wouldn't do it. You turn the staff back, staff wouldn't.
Close public comments.
We need to close public comments.
Okay. Okay.
The public comment period is closed.
Yeah.
Do commissioners have any questions?
I do. I think that Mr. Knoll had a lot of good questions, and I'd probably ask, of course, Greg's already figured that out, so he's coming up to address a lot of them. That is a big concern.
Okay, so basically, they are concerns. We have addressed them. As mentioned before, we do have currently, I currently have 9 certified inspectors on staff right now, as it is. We have been authorized through the budget. We're adding a couple more positions that will be dedicated. The way we're going to do this is with the residential. We do have our building inspectors, so it's not plumbing, electrical, it's not mechanical. Our building inspectors are now certified as Fire Inspector 1 and 2. So they, most of the time, and a lot of times, they're out there. So they're picking up on the residential side. They'll be doing the sprinkler inspections. It's the same building inspectors that are doing the rough ends and so forth now. As far as the commercial side, that's going to be, we're hiring 2 dedicated fire positions. Those will be people that have to have a minimum experience, have to have already be certified, and have been doing it, meeting the experience requirements on the commercial side to do that. All in all, with everything said and done, with the new positions, we will have 10 certified fire inspectors on my staff. I will have 2 or possibly 3 certified plan review on my staff. And the dedicated fire from plan review and from inspection will be dedicated just to fire. No building. They won't touch any building. It'll be as is with adding those other positions.
We're adding a position in plan review as well, right? So we're adding 3 total positions.
Right, I'm adding 3 total positions. So I'm actually adding a commercial plan examiner. As it is right now, my chief building inspector is also having to fill in on commercial plan review. So to put him out in the field, who he is also certified, so that's going to alleviate him from having to sit in the office and do commercial plan review. That's going to put him as the chief building inspector to be out in the field assisting doing fire inspections and filling in and helping out as he does now if an inspector needs him on site, or we're short, we have an inspector on vacation or an inspector sick, he fills in and covers those inspections for that day.
Greg?
Yes.
How long will it take?
We have to close the public. I'm sorry, never mind. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Greg, how long does it take an inspector to accomplish a typical residential inspection? If that was their only task?
If that's their only, it really depends on what they're there for. If it's a framing inspection, a rough framing, it could be a good hour, hour and a half, for them.
And one other question, and Dave Hayes is sitting behind you, maybe he can help. Traffic signal preemption is included in this in paragraph 18.
Yes, sir.
And this only is with new installation of traffic control devices in the county.
Yes.
Dave, I'm looking past him and looking at you. Do you have, and I hate to put you on the spot, do you have any idea how many traffic signals?
We can't.
Can't comment from the gallery.
Sorry. So I'll ask you, Greg. Do you have any idea how many traffic signals in the county are currently affected by that preemptive?
I do not know that. Scott Hobbs has that answer, but when we first looked at this, I went to Scott to ask him, because Dave had said He would like that added back into the code. And so I went to Scott, who's Director of Engineering, talked to him about it. He said it would be no problem. It is currently for only new traffic lights.
Thank you.
But I do not have a number for you.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments,
Questions?
questions?
Now we'd need to close the hearing and ask for comments
Okay.
and motions.
Okay, public hearing is now concluded, and I'll turn it back to the commissioners for any comments.
Greg, I think from what I just heard, you're pretty confident you can do a very quick turnaround, just like the concern was. So you think within a day or two, you can, a plan submittal, you can have it done in most cases?
In most cases, but typically it depends on the size. I mean, we're talking a residential. Residential is going to be your sprinkler systems coming
Right.
in. I'm sure that he's referring to that. Those are very quick. Like I said, we're going to have the dedicated staff that's just doing fire.
Right.
And on top of it, just to add this in, I do have my deputy code official is also fire plant examiner. So he can fill out if we need to have him filling in on the fire side, he can fill in there, and then he fills in on the commercial side if also for plan review.
So what I'm hearing, residential should be no problem. We should be able to turn it around quick. Okay,
quick.
thank you.
Okay, any others? Okay. Pleasure, as far as motion, or do you want to ponder this and bring it back?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Ready to vote, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Okay, thank you. Next agenda item under tab 4 is also a public hearing, and this is for Washington County Fire Prevention Fee Schedule. The purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony concerning the matter. The procedure is as follows. We will first have staff introduce the matter, after which the hearing will be open for public comment and testimony. Public comment and testimony is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The hearing will then close, and no other comments, correspondence, or emails will be considered. The commissioners may discuss the issue and take it under advisement, or they may reach a consensus to adopt the codes as presented. I'm going to ask Greg Cartret, Permitting Director, to now present the matter.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Greg Cartret, Director of Permits and Inspections and Code Official. We're here this morning to conduct a public hearing to move for approval to adopt the Washington County Fire Prevention Fee Schedule. Part of Washington County bringing fire prevention in-house, we need to adopt an established fire prevention fee schedule per COMAR 29.06.04. Discussion for Washington County to bring the fire prevention inside the Division of Permits and Inspections, we must adopt the Washington County Fire Prevention Code in a public hearing. We have advertised the public hearing for 3 weeks per state law to adopt the Washington County Fire Prevention fees. Also, you will see attached a fire prevention fee schedule.
Okay,
You need to open the public comment.
Yep, like I say, I didn't know if Greg was,
Nothing else.
no further comments. Okay, we will now open the hearing for public comment. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and give us your name and your address and tell us what you would like us to know. No one?
Close the public comment period.
With that, we'll close the public comments, and do the commissioners have any questions?
Any question I was has, how's this fee schedule compared to what's been in the past? To whatever fees that were being paid?
Right. Very comparable. Just to kind of give you an idea, I went not only with the current state fire marshal fee schedule, but also I compared to Frederick County. So I could have a good apples comparison. We basically, the way we do it now is there is for plan review. And when you see that on the schedule, it's got plan review, residential, 10 cents per square foot. That's what we charge now for building. For if you're building a home, that's what it is per square foot. What we're looking at is that just being double. So the fire side, the building side will be 10 cents, the fire side will be 10 cents, and that covers everything. The other fee schedules that you're seeing, the inspection fees, those are if someone comes in, they're replacing the alarm system, they're replacing the sprinkler system, they're having to do those things. But once you, just like with our building, it's designed exactly to mirror our building as the building fees as it is right now.
So what were they paying before? So can you give us an example for a 2,000 square foot residential home?
2,000 square foot, this is not talking about the app and tech fee. This is just for the building and the fire now. So you're looking at 2,000 square foot, it'd be $200, plus and now an additional $200, so it'd be $400 for your permit.
And what were they paying before?
200.
To the state?
So it was almost 400 before.
Well, it depends on what it was. I have the schedule here, and I did not bring the breakdown.
It's comparable, it's about the same.
Yeah, it's very comparable to the state and way less than Frederick County.
Okay.
So when you, Greg, thank you for the work on this. So when you say like a smoke control system, $175 per system, and I don't know, a fire pump, $200 per pump, I'm looking at the fees for just inspecting a non-residential, how does that marry up? Because if it's 10 cents per $200 for a 2,000 square foot storage and industrial occupancy inspection. But if they have these systems in there, is that a separate charge? And why would you charge, if you had 3 systems, why would you charge $400?
No, when you pay for your review fee, just like on the building side now, when you pay your fee, the commercial side is 15 cents a square foot.
Yeah.
That's what you pay. That includes your plan review, your inspections, that includes everything. What it doesn't include is any re-inspection fees, things of that nature. That is all inclusive for everything, because we're trying to make it to be very comparable, but at the same time, we're not wanting to bring it in-house and try to have a whirlwind, fall. We're trying to keep it very comparable to what the contractors are having to pay now, both on the residential and on the commercial side. And I don't know, Commissioner, if this is where you're going, but to be honest with you, to make us comparable, there is a difference on the residential side for storage and industrial occupancy. Mm-hmm. It goes from 15 cents to 10 cents per square foot. The reason why is for me to be, these are the warehouses. For us to be comparable with the state fire marshal and their fees, I had to bring that down to 10 cents per square foot versus the normal 15 cents.
So a 2 million square foot warehouse would be 10 cents per square foot?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Which is they're paying 15 cents per square foot on the building side, and then they would pay 10 cents a square foot for the fire side.
Okay.
So what you're telling me is there's not sticker shock here somewhere where we're going to hear a bunch of calls about, oh man, my fees, last time I paid this, it's up 50%.
We should not. The way this is designed, and I've worked with it, that's why I've got in here also Frederick County. I've compared all the fees, run the math, and, I've had to make some tweaks in here to make it comparable to where the state is and where Frederick County is.
So overall, what percentage do you think our fees went up? under this schedule? Did it go up 5%, 10%, 20%?
Right now, what I have calculated based off of this year earnings, the fees that we collect should cover my 3 new positions.
No, he's saying for the average person, how much more will they have to pay? Or will they have a decrease in pay?
Overall, they should have a decrease, but not significant decrease.
Okay, but it's not a 20, 30% increase?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm after.
No,
Okay.
it's not going to
Yeah,
be
so it's
that.
going to be fairly level?
And in some cases, it will go down. Some cases, we might be just slightly a little higher, depending on
got you.
what they're building, the occupancy and so forth. We might be a little higher, but we're not talking about massive, $20,000, $30,000, nothing like that I foresee. And I've ran every scenario with picturing the biggest one I ran was a 1 million square foot warehouse. And that's when I realized the only way I can be comparable is to drop it from 15 cents a square foot to 10 cents a square foot.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. Public hearing is now concluded. And commissioners, your final comments or motion.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for approval. Ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Next item under tab 5 is FY26 Appalachian Regional Commission, ARC, preliminary project description, review, and ranking. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Commissioners. Maria Kramer, Director of the Office of Grant Management, and welcome Randy Leatherman. And I think I've seen you a few times on the JFK course on the road, so welcome aboard. Today I'm here to present the FY26 Appalachian, or Appalachian, as I've been informed from Commissioner Klein, the preliminary project descriptions, review, and rankings. The recommended motion is moved to accept the preliminary project descriptions as prioritized by this board and forward the ranking to the Tri-County Council of Western Maryland for funding consideration. As part of the annual ARC funding program, Tri-County Council for Western Maryland, which is the local administrator of the federal funds, requests the county review and prioritize projects submitted for grant funding consideration. A review committee consisting of directors from the offices of Planning and Zoning, Business and Economic Development, Engineering, and Grant Management have reviewed the projects and assigned a preliminary ranking. The Board of County Commissioners has the final authority to review and rank the proposals at its sole discretion prior to the submission to the Tri-County Council. In February, the ARC's preliminary project description forms were distributed to municipalities, educational institutions, healthcare providers, and nonprofit agencies, inviting them to submit requests for funding through ARC. ARC area development grants require a 50-50 funding match. In FY26, ARC expects to have approximately $4 million to be distributed among Allegheny, Garrett, and Washington County. Funding requests for Washington County's area development projects includes 5 proposed projects totaling $1,333,000 in requested funding. Projects submitted by outside organizations will have no fiscal impact on the county. If the project submitted by the town of Sharpsburg received an award from ARC, the matching funds will come from the Department of Quality CIP. And then the chart was included with that gives you the rankings of the 5 projects that are being sent forward, the description, the amount of funding that they would be providing for the project, and then the ARC allocation recommendation, that's the $1,333,000.
Any Comments? This has no financial impact, basically, on the county.
One of the projects in there, if you look on the chart, the number 4 project is the Town of Sharpsburg Water Upgrade Project. That is being recommended to move forward as the number 4 project, and if all of these do get funded by Tri-County Council, then it would be a $375,000, which is already included in the CIP, which I've concurred with.
It's funded by water quality or the county's water quality department, not the town's water quality
Right,
department.
it's covered. It's already in the budget.
Correct.
Okay, any other? Motion?
I motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, a little slow in coming. You ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. Have a good day.
Next item under tab 6 is fiscal year 2026 annual transit plan application, approval to submit application and accept awarded funding. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Sean Harbaugh, Director of Transit.
Carson Arns, Office of Grant Management.
We're here today to present the fiscal 2026 annual transit plan, ATP for short. Recommended motion is to move to approve the resolution authorizing the filing of the application as a sub-grantee for funding under the Federal Transit Act and approve the execution of the agreement upon receipt, subject to review and approval by the County Attorney's Office. In brief, Washington County Transit annually applies to the Maryland Department of Transportation and Maryland Transit Administration for federal and state operational and capital funding through the ATP, Annual Transportation Plan. The awarded funds are used to operate authorized public transportation programs within Washington County, which includes the Section 5307 Fixed Route Program, the American Disabilities Act ADA Complementary Paratransit Program, the Jobs Opportunity Shuttle, Jobs for short, the Statewide Specialized Transportation Assistance Program, STAP for short, AKA Ride Assist Voucher Program, and the Capital Assistance Program. This fiscal year, the 2026 application requests $3,626,161 in federal and state funds from the Federal Transit Administration and MDOT MTA to subsidize the transit system. Fiscal impact, the local match is required to secure the federal and state grant funds. Local match requirement associated with the fiscal year 2026 application is as follows. The 5307 operating grant general funds is $790,289. 5307 capital grant, $371,489. The STEP grant for $50,510,000 for a total of $1,212,288.
Questions, comments?
Motion to review, subject to review and approval of the County Attorney's Office.
We have a motion and a second with amendment, I guess you would call it. All in favor by saying aye? Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Subject to the approval of the.
Yeah, there's a recommended motion.
It's in the recommended motion.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 7, Domestic Violence Unit Program FY26.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lieutenant Daniel Maughan with the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Carson Arons, Office of Grant Management. Today, we would request that you move to approve the acceptance of funding as awarded for the Domestic Violence Unit Program, fiscal year 26, of the amount of $29,500. The purpose of this award is to provide overtime funding for trained and certified records personnel to enter protective orders into the meters NCIC within the CJIS mandated 24-hour time frame. Ensuring protective orders are entered into the requisite systems is vital to public safety as they prevent respondents from purchasing firearms and ensure law enforcement can take appropriate actions if contacts allude to a violation of the order.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Next item under tab 8 is local warrant apprehension and absconding grant program.
Lieutenant Daniel Maughan with the Washington County Sheriff's, continuing.
Carson Arons, Office of Grant Management. We would request that you move to approve accepting funding as awarded for the local warrant apprehension and absconding grant program fiscal year 26 in the amount of $49,980. This program provides overtime availability for sworn personnel to conduct investigative workups and targeted warrant sweeps to apprehend wanted subjects for the betterment of public safety throughout Washington County, Maryland. Program funds support overtime and fringe expenses.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 5-0, thank you. Next item under tab 9, police recruitment and retention grant, approval to accept awarded funding.
We would request that you move to approve for the acceptance of funding awarded under the fiscal year 25 police recruitment and retention grant program for the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Youth and Victim Services in the amount of $48,980. This program will provide financial recruiting assistance to the agency that will allow it to expand its visibility within the immediate area and beyond. Additionally, the provision of polarized sunglasses as a retention incentive serves the dual purpose of ensuring that our deputies are protected while also providing a meaningful and tangible show of appreciation for the increasingly complex work that they are asked to perform.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 5-0, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 10 is bid award PUR 1731, Sharpsburg Waste Treatment Plant backwash pump replacement.
Good morning, Brandy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Joe Moss, Deputy Director of Engineering for Water Quality.
The first recommendation I have for you this morning is the bid award PUR 1731. Move to award the procurement of a backwash pump replacement at the Sharpsburg Water Treatment Plant to the responsive responsible bidder, Sidnor Hydro, out of Richmond, Virginia, for a total sum of $72,495. The amount budgeted for FY25 was $33,670. So we're also asking today for approval on a budget transfer in the amount of $40,000 from Capital Improvement Project TRP 025 transferred into TRP 023. The notice of the invitation of bid was listed on the State of Maryland's eMaryland Marketplace Advantage website, the county's website, and the county's new online bidding site, as well as the local newspaper. 20 companies downloaded the document, and we did receive 3 bids. After reviewing the bids, we did determine that 2 of the bids, the low bids, failed to meet the specification of the bid document. Therefore, they were deemed non-responsive.
The reasoning is as follows. Number one, Back River Precast, after comparing the dimension data from the alternative pump by Back River, it was determined that the alternative pump will require additional piping modifications. And per the bid document, it did say that a alternative pump shall be installed in the same piping configuration, so they were deemed non-responsive. Number two, Grassfield Construction, they were deemed non-responsive because they did not submit a replacement pump in their proposal. Again, we're asking for approval to approve the purchase of the pumps and for the budget transfer.
Just a curious question, Joe. Why did we budget 33 and the cost is actually 72? Is that just because of inflation or?
Well, there's a lot to this, a lot more to it than.
I don't need a big detail, just, what.
Well, the company that originally made that pump, Fairbanks Morris, got bought out years ago. The pump that we have to replace is obsolete. And we were hoping to get a pump that could fit into the same piping configuration so that we could install it and not have to go through a major renovation at the water plant.
Gotcha.
But neither one of the lower bids that was around our budget price submitted anything that would fit into the existing dimensions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now we have to, there's one company out there that Pentair bought Fairbanks Morris, and the only way we can get a direct replacement is to have it manufactured, to those dimensions.
Joe, I'm just curious.
Hi.
How often do you backwash?
I believe it's twice a week, but
Not sure, just, okay. I didn't know if it was daily or not.
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Just curious.
For that plant. Okay. I know the pump's been in, it was in the original design, so it was put in service in 1960s.
Okay.
So it served its useful life for sure.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item under tab 11, intergovernmental cooperative purchase 25-0188, 2 Hinky Road Warrior Series snowplows for the Highway Department.
Randy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Zane Rao, Deputy Director of Highways.
The next recommendation is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG 25-0188. Move to authorize by resolution for the Highway Department to purchase 2 Hinky Road Warrior Series snowplows from SEI out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for a total amount of $53,960. We're also asking to utilize another jurisdiction's contract that was awarded by Sourcewell. The plows will allow for continuity of operations during snow removal events and in the event of a plow breakdown, which could take hours to days to repair. At this time, the Highway Department has no spares for their Mack dump trucks, which make up 65% of their 40 dump truck fleet. The Code of Public Local Law of Washington County does provide that the Board of County Commissioners may procure goods and services through a contract entered into by another government entity, as long as we abide by the same terms, conditions, and pricing of that contract, and we are doing so. The county will benefit with a direct cost savings due to the economies of scale that the contract has leveraged. Funding is available in the Capital Improvement Program Project EQP 042 for this project.
Questions?
I have a question,
Yes,
more of a comment. If a plow breaks down and we're receiving over 1 inch in an hour, how do you clear that road other than a pickup truck with a plow on?
usually,
It's not the best way to do it, is it?
right, either that or we'll try and double up a route.
And one of the reasons we want that road cleared at 1 inch an hour is for the public safety vehicles if you're having a heart attack or emergency, correct?
Correct.
So this is important to keep our vehicles operational.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Zane, could I just one quick, Zane, do the snow plows have positive downward pressure, or are they simply gravity?
You run them in float, but you can put pressure on.
You can.
Yes.
Do you normally?
No.
Okay,
It'd just tear the road up.
thanks.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zane. Next item under tab 12, intergovernmental cooperative purchase 25-0189, 12 mobile radios for the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Randy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Tom Weber, Deputy Director, Wireless Communications. Brian Albert, Sheriff.
The next recommendation is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG 25-0189. That's for 12 mobile radios for the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Move to authorize by resolution for the Washington County Sheriff's Department to purchase 12 single remote head mobile radios to be used and installed in the Washington County Sheriff's vehicles from Motorola out of Linthicum Heights, Maryland, for a total proposal price of $82,257.12. We're also asking for permission to utilize another jurisdiction's contract, which was awarded by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments to Motorola. The Washington County Sheriff's Office is requesting to purchase these radios to upfit new cruisers with multi-band P25 mobile radios as they complete the upfitting process to put these vehicles into their active patrol fleet. Again, the Code of Public Local Law does provide that the Board of County Commissioners may procure goods and services through a contract entered into by another government entity, as long as we abide by the same terms, conditions, and pricing of that contract. And the county will benefit with the direct cost savings of this purchase due to the economies of scale the contract has leveraged. There is funding available for this purchase in the department's capital improvement account.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Motion? Motion? We have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion is second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next item under tab 13, intergovernmental cooperative purchase 25-0180, police vehicle equipment for the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Price increase.
This is a price increase for INTG 25-0180. This purchase was originally brought before the board on March 18, 2025, for a total amount of $57,696. Today, we're asking for approval for an additional $2,760 for this equipment. The new total would be $60,456. A reminder, and for Randy, because he doesn't know this, but these vehicles were purchased in August of 2024, and this is going to be the consoles and the safety features within the vehicle. The reason for the increase is because the vendor added the shipping incorrectly. They added it as unit instead of per unit, so it was going to actually cost the county a pretty good amount of money. So they took some different alternate routes and did get us a pretty good price at shipping. So there again, we're asking for an additional $2,760 for this equipment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. Where does the additional come from? Is it?
It's budgeted.
They have it in their budget.
It's budget, okay. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item under tab 14 is PFAS mitigation plan for Mount Etna and Sandy Hook wells.
Hi, Joe Moss, Deputy Director of Engineering for Water Quality. I'm here today to seek the approval of the proposal from Buchard Horn in the amount of $69,350 to complete the PFAS mitigation plan for Mount Etna and Sandy Hook wells. MDE has notified Washington County in 2024 that the test results taken of the source waters for both Mount Etna and Sandy Hook tested positive for PFAS. This is a man-made group of synthetic chemicals and pose potential health risks in our drinking water. The current appropriation permits for both the Mount Etna and the Sandy Hook wells will have limits established for PFAS in the drinking water systems beginning in 2027. MDE advised us that a mitigation plan to remove PFAS from both water systems will need to be developed by 2026 and implemented by 2027 to maintain compliance with the new water quality standards. This mitigation plan for both Mount Etna and Sandy Hook will evaluate 3 options to remove PFAS from the raw water sources. The recommended options will then be the basis of design for improvements to each system. Completed designs will be submitted to MDE for approval and construction permit. All upgrades and/or modifications recommended by this plan will need to be completed and online by 2027.
You know, I got to ask this question. Why such a discrepancy in bids? I mean,
Yeah.
69,000 to 455,000.
I can only say that the, the 3 consulting, all of them bid the exact same scope of work. And we found out by talking with Bucart, they've had experience, good experience with systems of these sizes, putting just a package, treatment system on them for PFAS removal.
Have we ever dealt with Butchart Horn yet?
We have a long history of Bucart Horn.
Oh, absolutely.
A decade or more.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, they're a good company.
Yeah, they've been very.
that's just
very good to
crazy
work.
division in bidding there. I've never seen it quite that bad.
Well, I think the other engineering firms, Randy, just overthought, their proposals.
Yep.
PFAS is a relatively new contaminant that's going to be monitored in all the drinking water systems by MDE beginning in 2027. So I have to say maybe some of the consulting firms just don't have the experience. Bucart is a very experienced company.
Yeah, motion to approve.
Motion, we have a second?
A second, but one quick question, just for information. Do we have an idea what the levels were in the testing?
I believe the maximum contaminant level that will be enforced, I believe, in 2027. We don't have those numbers just yet, but I believe it'll be 4 parts per billion. And we didn't have extremely high levels, but based on the fact that there was a presence of PFAS, okay, is justification enough for us to have to move forward, especially since they told us we're going to have a limit starting in 2027.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you, Joe. Next item under tab 15, 40 West Landfill Gas Purchase Agreement.
Morning, Commissioners. Dave Mason, Deputy Director with Solid Waste.
Aaron Weiss, Assistant County Attorney.
We're looking for a motion to approve the proposed modification of landfill gas contract with Terra Renewables. Originally, we were supposed to get 10% of the tax credits for this renewable energy. Terra is now asking for them to keep 100% of the tax credit so they can pay for upfront costs that they didn't expect. And in return, they will give us extra ability to receive funds from the sale of the gas on the back end of the contract. So all in all, we're not losing any money. We're just going to earn at least as much, if not more, after they start selling the gas once the construction's complete.
That's a good bottom line. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item under tab 16, Circuit Court, Court Smart FY25 Maintenance Agreement Reimbursement Memorandum of Understanding.
Good morning, Kristen Grossnickel, Court Administrator, Andrew of Wilkinson Courthouse. I'm here this morning. The Administrative Office of Courts is requesting to enter an MOU with the Washington County government to reimburse the county for the fiscal year 25 maintenance agreement for the Circuit Court Recording System, Court Smart. The Court Smart is a recording system that we use to record all of our court sessions and requires an annual maintenance agreement that is paid for from the court's county budget. The AOC has agreed to cover the cost for fiscal year 25 and has issued an MOU to reimburse the county for the costs incurred for this agreement. This is a one-time reimbursement. The total cost was $22,361.24, which was paid for from the Equipment Maintenance Fund. $18,997 was actually paid in May of 2024 for the period of July of 25 through April of this year. And then we just paid in April for $3,364.24 for the remainder of the fiscal year.
No. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, FY 2026 Operating and Capital Budgets.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer.
Kim Edlin, Director of Budget and Finance.
And Zane Garrett, Deputy Director, Budget and Finance.
Not sure what happened to our slides here, but this morning we were presenting updated budgets that incorporate the necessary changes based on the recent state legislative session. Michelle, can they see this in their binders? It's not on the screen.
Yes, they have it in their binders.
All right, so I'm on my slide 2 that has the state cost shifts. So the state's adopted budget plan, or the Budget Reconciliation and Financing Act, included several policy changes that will impact revenue and shift costs onto the county. The total impact on the general fund budget is about $8 million. The state has increased the standard deduction amounts that are used to compute taxable income, which will reduce our income tax revenue by an estimated $3 million. Counties are responsible for reimbursing the state for costs of administering real property valuation, business personal property valuation, and related IT costs. The state has increased this requirement from the 50% that we paid before to 90% of costs, which reduces our amount of net property tax by approximately $544,000. The state has also shifted a portion of teacher pension costs that were previously paid by the state onto counties. Washington County will have to contribute $2.2 million for the Washington County Public School System and $165,000 for Hagerstown Community College for a total of $2.4 million. Legislation regarding the blueprint was introduced that include delaying the implementation of collaborative time and revising the foundation formula related. The final bill that passed has delayed the implementation but does not revise the foundation formula. This results in another $2.1 million required for the Board of Education that was not included in their initial budget request. Moving to the next slide for balancing measures. Staff took several measures to rebalance the budget. Pension costs were reduced across all operating funds from 26% of wages to 24% of wages based on the actuarially determined contribution amount which was received in mid-March. Reductions were made to personnel requests for the general fund, the delaying in the hiring of the proposed 8 firefighters and 1 shift supervisor until 10/1/2025, removal of the new part-time EMS medical director position, remove the within-grade increase for the GIS coordinator in planning, remove the part-time engineer position for public works, and remove the full-time administrative assistant position for the election board, which was discussed and agreed upon by Barry, and remove the new part-time park attendant position for Parks and Recreation. For the transit fund, removal of the full-time transportation safety and training coordinator position, and in the golf course fund, removal of the new full-time maintenance worker position. An updated list of the proposed personnel requests have been placed in your operating budget binders. The next measure that we took was paring back the Washington County wage scale decompression, which reduced the average increase from 4.7% to 3.3% across the grades. We reduced travel and related costs by 50% across all operating funds that receive general fund support. We've eliminated the employee investment in team building programs across all funds. We've reduced the amount for future EMS transitions to slow down the rate of transition to one company during the fiscal year. Identified capital outlay items that could be purchased in the current fiscal year. And reductions across the other operating funds reduced the needed general fund support to those funds, and we reduced the transfer into the CIP fund. So the proposed FY26 general fund budget has been rebalanced at $323,115,430. Property and income tax still make up 91% of our revenue budget. There are still no proposed increases to the property tax or income tax rates. And here are the adjustments that were made to revenues from the previous draft budget. Again, property tax revenue was reduced $544,000 based on the change in reimbursement to the state for property assessment administration. Income tax revenue was reduced by $3 million based on the changes to the standard deduction calculations. Charges for services was reduced about $2,000 for weed control fees based on expenditures changing within that department, which is self-balancing. And grants and other income was reduced $144,000 due to the delayed hiring of the firefighters and the related expected safer grant reimbursement. Here are the proposed expense budgets by category. Allocations for the Board of Education make up 38% of our operating budget, followed by wages and benefits at 30%. And so here you can see the adjustments that were made to expenditures from our previous draft. The Board of Education has increased $4.4 million due to the revisions in the foundation formula and the amount required of the county for teacher pension costs. The total funding for FY26 has increased from the original $8.3 million to a $12.7 million or 11.5% increase over the FY25 funding amount. Additional funding in CIP was redirected back into the Board of Ed operating line and is available for the BOE to use at their discretion. Wages and benefits decreased $2.4 million due to changes made to pension, personnel requests, and the wage scale decompression. County and public safety operations decreased a combination of $727,000 due to reductions made in the travel, limiting the EMS transition, removing the request for emergency management consulting that was recently funded in FY25 instead, and other savings that we worked with departments to identify. The county operations budget does include an increase of $165,000 for the state shifted pension costs for HCC employees. Transfers to the capital fund were reduced $3.9 million, and capital outlay was reduced $526,000. Staff again worked together to identify items that could be purchased in our current fiscal year. The FY26 capital budget has been reduced by $3.4 million from the previous draft presented. The total budget for FY26 is $110.7 million, and our 10-year total is $881 million. Changes made due to the reduced amount being transferred from the general fund include the redirecting of the proposed $2.2 million for school buses for the Board of Ed back to the Board of Ed appropriation line in the operating budget. Bus purchases are typically funded through the Board of Ed's operating budget from the county's operating appropriation, and this redirection corrects the accounting issue, and the funding will still be available for the purchase of buses at the discretion of the Board of Education as part of their operating budget. The additional changes that we made was to reduce the North Central County Park project in FY26 by $1.7 million and reallocate those amounts to other projects that had general fund money. Recently, there was a budget adjustment approved in fiscal year 25 for the North Central County Park of $2.6 million, so this reduction in FY26 does not have a major impact on the project. Other changes since the last draft in capital was a reduction in airport capital equipment at the request of the department, a new project for public safety to replace the computer-aided dispatch system at the 911 center for $1.2 million, and this will be funded using non-residential excise tax reserve. Reduction to the 40 West Landfill Cell 5 construction project of $500,000 due to a budget transfer being approved in 25. Reduction made to sewer equipment project of $200,000 due to updated quotes being lower than expected for the VACCON vehicle, and an additional $50,000 was added back in for system upgrades at the Weinbrenner wastewater treatment plant. So here you can see how the related funding changed based on those projects. More detail on the changes to the capital budget can be found in your capital budget binders. So here you can see our total proposed operating and capital budget. I do want to state that I do have a correction from what was published. The proposed airport fund budget is $4 million, not $4.1 million. So this changes that the proposed budget for all operating funds is actually $394.2 million. Operating capital combined is $505 million, and the overall reduction is $8.1 million. So you can see that the changes that we have made across all of our funds got us to the $8 million reduction needed for the state policy changes. The new proposed operating budget is a 7% increase over the FY25 operating budget. So at this time, I would like to open it up to the commissioners for their questions or comments.
I have a question. First of all, thank you for preparing this report. It's a lot of work. Fiscal year 25 for the school board, what was our final funding dollar amount?
So the total appropriation for fiscal year 25 was $110.2 million.
So it was $110 million for our last budget. Our initial draft budget had us at 118 for this year, and now we're at almost 123.
Correct.
So that's a $13 million increase in funding to our Board of Ed. One deceptive thing, 38% of our budget has grown larger, so the percent of what we're budgeting is lower, but our commitment in dollars continue to rise. And from last year, it's over $13 million. Would that be accurate?
Correct.
Thank you.
And in the percentage terms, that's about 11 or 12%.
It's 11.5%.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you, I forgot.
It's not keeping pace with the growth rate that we are experiencing for revenues. It's much higher than our actual growth rate.
And much higher than the inflation rate.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions or comments, I would like to ask for consensus to take this version of the budget to our public hearing.
I'm okay.
You need a vote or consensus?
Just a consensus, so we can start preparing.
We have consensus? Okay.
Okay,
Yep,
so
we do.
for the public's awareness, I would like to announce that next week on May 6th are our public hearings for rate and fee changes for water quality, solid waste, and airport, beginning at 9:40 a.m. And then the public hearing for our budget will be held on Tuesday evening, May 13th at 6 p.m. at our Public Safety Training Center.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Next item, under tab 18, County Commissioners of Washington County, Public Improvement and Refunding Bonds of 2025 Authorizing Resolution.
Good morning. Lindsay Rader, Funkin Bolton, Bond Counsel to the county. Before you this morning is a resolution that authorizes the county to issue not to exceed a maximum principal amount of general obligation bonds of $37,025,000. These bonds will be issued to finance new money projects for the county in a maximum principal amount not to exceed $18,510,000, and to refund the 2 series of general obligation bonds issued by the county in 2015. There was both a new money series and a refunding series in 2015. And to the extent that at the time the bond sale occurs, the county can achieve sufficient savings, it is looking to refinance all of those 2015 bonds that are callable beginning July 1, 2025. So we would be calling those prior to maturity to achieve debt service savings. We have flexibility in the resolution because we just don't know what's going to happen in the market between now and the date of sale. And the maximum principal amount of refunding bonds would be $18,515,000. The resolution includes a preliminary amortization schedule of only $29,435,000 based on market conditions when the county's financial advisor prepared that amortization schedule for purposes of this resolution. But flexibility is given to the chief financial officer to increase or decrease the amount of bonds to be issued and the maturity, the amount of each maturity of the bonds, which are going to be basically 25-year bonds, within the upside parameters set forth in the resolution. This resolution is very similar to the resolution that you passed last year, which also authorized new money and refunding bonds. Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company will continue to serve as the county's bond registrar and paying agent for these bonds. And if we do have a current refunding component, we'll serve as the escrow agent for the refunding component. The arbitrage group will serve as verification consultant if we refund any of the 2015 bonds. The substantially final form of the bond, the substantially final form of the redemption notice for any refunded bonds, the substantially final form of the summary notice of sale to be published in the Herald Mail, and the substantially final form of the preliminary official statement are included either in the resolution or in the packages before you. The sale is scheduled currently for May 20th with closing on June 3rd. And if we do have a refunding component, we will call the refunded 2015 bonds for payment on July 7th, not on July 1. That's because we have to give 30 days prior written notice of the redemption, and we don't want to do that until we close on the 2015 series. Just as always, any award or rejection for bids for the bonds, which will be conducted on an electronic trading platform, will be approved or rejected by the chief financial officer within the limits of the resolution. The county pledges its full faith and credit and unlimited taxing power to payment of the bonds, but may apply other available revenues to payment of the bonds. The resolution includes the pledge of the county not to take any action or to omit to take any action to adversely impact the tax-exempt status of the bonds. That's the overview. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Could you help me understand the sensitivity of the bond rates that we're looking at to any decisions by the Federal Reserve?
I cannot, as a lawyer, unfortunately, provide you with financial advice because of certain rules that impact registered municipal advisors. I just can't give you that, but I can say that I was on a call for another transaction yesterday in which the financial advisor for that transaction, which is going to be a series of revenue bonds, not general obligation bonds, indicated that just in the last 3 weeks, There have been market swings for tax-exempt bonds, and again, these would be revenue bonds, and the county's general obligation bonds are expected to have several step higher rating than those bonds of 20 to 50 basis points, based on the preliminary numbers for that transaction. So it is a somewhat volatile market at this time, and we do reserve the ability in the resolution to make a decision to postpone the sale. I don't recall that we've had to postpone a sale for the county, but in 2020 and 2021, during some market volatility, I had several other issuer clients where we ended up postponing sales by several weeks in order not to go into the market at a time when the financial advisor just did not think that those issuer clients would achieve a decent result.
And then one other brief question. So we're not increasing any debt, but we're going to reduce the actual cost of servicing the debt we have through this transaction process we're entering into.
For the refunding component,
Yes.
we will only refund any maturities or parts of maturities of the 2015 bonds that will achieve debt service savings.
Good, okay, thank you.
Yeah, so this does include some new money bonds and some refinancing. And for the refinancing, we do have some parameters set out in our debt policy that we must meet before we can issue. And I will work closely with the financial advisor to make sure we're going to meet that, which is why we have the flexibility to pool it.
Very good. Any other questions?
Is this consensus or a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, you're staring. I thought maybe there was a question. With that, all in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 19, IAFF Collective Bargaining Memorandum of Understanding Approval. Exactly.
Thank you, President Barr. Zachary Kiefer, County Attorney.
David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
And before you today is a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Board of County Commissioners for Washington County, Maryland, and the Local 1605 of the IAFF AFL-CIO. Excuse me, the county and IAF representatives engaged in collective bargaining. The result is the attached memorandum of understanding. The IAFF voted to ratify the MOU, which provides for a 2-year agreement between the parties, and the beginning date, commencement date of this agreement is July 1, 2025.
Questions, comments?
Do you have anything to add to that, Dave?
No, just relative to the, I guess, the major points in the MOU itself. Most of the points that are impacting are wages, the establishment of a labor management committee, which is non-binding, and then a second set of PPE, which is firefighter structural turnout gear to full-time career staff. The other thing is just some language cleanup, local uniform modifications. But overall, our bargaining session, I think, was productive. It was amenable, without angst, and I congratulate and thank our union team for coming to the table and being realistic. And there's only so much we can do in each of these contract negotiations. And we do have the vice president of the union here, Billy Woods. He's one of our captains. If it would be appropriate, I'd certainly forward a mic to him to make a comment.
Yeah, please.
Morning, thank you, Billy Woods. I would just echo what Dr. Hayes said. I believe our negotiation team and myself would agree that everything was very amenable. This is my first time negotiating a contract, but we're happy with the product. I think we made significant progress. We look forward to continuing with our positive relationship.
And I think we got good feedback throughout the process, so do we need consensus or a vote here?
Yes, needs a vote.
Comment first.
Okay.
I want to thank both entities for the cooperation and spirit of partnership that is displayed by this. The public safety was paramount before any arguing or disagreement. So I applaud each and every one of you for doing that. Because in the end, it's the public safety and serving our people, which is most important. So Mr. Woods, your team, and Mr. Hayes, Director Hayes, thank you all for what you've done. And
Dave,
staffs.
what does that second set of turnout gear cost?
So collectively, it's about $220,000.
So per firefighter?
Per person, it's about 6,000, 6 to 7,000.
Things have changed.
They have much. But we're really a proponent of cancer prevention, and included in that, as you well know, is proper care of your PPE. So as these folks, we had a lot of PPE last Thursday night at the Maryland paper fire that needed to be laundered, and they need a second set. They're working 24 hours. In some cases, they're working an extra shift even to make sure they can get in an appropriate set of PPE. So we're happy with that. I think really what I would emphasize, and I said this throughout our labor management negotiations, is in reality, we all want the same thing. We want to take care of the citizen first. We want to make sure that we take care of our staff and employees, and the volunteers are included in that as well. We want to make sure that whatever policies we bring forward, make sure that everybody can. So we all want the same things, and I think that's what led us into
I have one more comment or question. Mental health, rising concern amongst our first responders for what they witness and have to endure. Chappie Ballard at the Fire Association continues to talk to me about it, and so does other first responders. I hope in the future we can begin adding mental health services. We already have some to some degree. There's a program for it, but we may, well, I guess I should say, make it more known or maybe increase the accessibility, because some of the things our first responders witness carry on later into their life. So that would be one of my just comments that we consider now and future, and make aware of those programs that are existing.
We appreciate those comments.
Thank you.
I appreciate the job y'all have done. I mean, it's great. I'll motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
I agree, yes.
Opposed, sign. 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for all
We
you
would
do.
like to get a picture of the document being signed.
Okay.
John?
Yep.
Sign it right there. They should sign it on the top there so everybody, not,
Dave?
sign it here on top so we can get a better picture of it.
Katie, can you help? Do we want to sign it there or up here? There's fine, okay.
Can we have all of the commissioners around? Sure. I think it's a. I can take one of your phones. We'll get one for you.
Jeff, do you want me to take a picture?
Sure.
Okay. And then everybody look here first. Okay, go ahead and sign.
Okay, next item is tab 20, Whole Blood MOU with Meredith Medical Center.
Good morning. David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
David Chisholm, Deputy Director of Emergency Services.
I'm going to let Director Chisholm move through this here, as he's been our driving force in this and bringing whole blood to Washington County. I'm most proud of his efforts.
Good morning. Recommendation is to authorize the Division of Emergency Services to enter an MOU covering the use and subsequent purchase of whole blood for the treatment of critical patients for pre-hospital emergency care. The Division of Emergency Services and Meredith Medical Center are partnering on a countywide program that will make whole blood available to our pre-hospital EMS clinicians for the treatment of critical patients in the pre-hospital facility. If approved by the DOC, the whole blood will be carried on 2 of the 4 EMS supervisory vehicles in Washington County. EMS 1811 in Clear Spring and 275 located in the rest of the campus. Due to the short shelf life of the whole blood and the requirements of climate controlled environment for storage, it is helpful to provide whole blood supplies to these 2 supervisor units. Is prudent and will remain effective treatment option when coupled with the limitations of the whole blood supply. Fiscal impacts is approximately $3,000 depending on frequency of use. Concurrences, Zach Pfeiffer, County Attorney, and R. David Hayes, Director of Division of Emergency Services.
Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 5-0. Budgeted, or do we need to do something to
I
cover
think
the
we can
fee?
cover out our existing budget.
Okay, can you?
We can cover it.
It's included in their budget.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate all the hard work you do. So at this point, I need a motion to go into closed session for the following reasons: to discuss confidential personnel matters and to consult with legal counsel.
Motion to go in closed session.
Motion second to go into close. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, 5-0.